So this here in the shop is called the God Boost. It's a modded item that, when applied to a tower, gives it every applicable buff in the game to it. So you get something like this. Although probably for clarity's sake, I should put it a little bit lower so you can actually see how many icons it has. And this is 28. This is not the only video I've done of this, in case you're wondering, wait, you've already talked about this already. Well, just for those who are unaware, there's a giant good ol' super buffing playlist where, I mean, the premise is self-explanatory. Super buff every tower in the game to see how far they can survive on easy mode. And I don't know if you saw there, but that Jerry Fire range is absolutely massive. It actually seems to extend beyond the current tax range. As you see, it starts detecting a good however many units away that is. Anyway, that God Boost playlist also includes some of the showcases I did of this specific buff in the shop. Once again, thanks to Bubbles. And just like then, there will be no rhyme and rhythm. We're just gonna test random towers. Well, by random, I mean I handpicked some of the coolest towers, I think, with this mod. And we'll see how far we can make it. Kind of starting off with a banger here with the tack into tack zone. We kind of have no business starting as low of a round as even 119 here, because you see, without just a single bend moving, it has taken it down. Visually, it honestly doesn't even look like the attack is that strong, because you see the amount of attack it spews out. Feels kind of low. It's not like fully maxed out. But that might just be because I'm too used to tack zone shooting this much faster and having just a line of projectiles rather than them being spaced apart like they are right now. Anyway, here's Wonder Wall, or I mean a Wonder Wall of DDTs. How about this though? I think we might struggle. We're only getting 5,000 DPS, and with it being limited range, I think this probably does it for the tower, yeah. We'll have to buy an overdrive now, and that increases range. Although I might have to buy it a little bit earlier to actually end up beating this round, yeah. Now that we got it though, I don't expect it to survive any more than one band, eh? No sir. While we blast through the 160s with the overdrive, quick clarification. Some people might have the question of, what makes this different from max buffing? Like, can't you just do that normally? This mod just makes it easy for you. In a way, yes. Yes, it is. Essentially, you can do the same thing with the multiple heroes mod to add all the hero buffs and simulate full uptime with, say, Homeland, but this God Boost is obviously a lot easier to simulate that. Not to mention, every buff that is applied is permanent, so hell, like Fat Pat Fusty, you normally don't have full uptime, but in this one you do, so it's definitely a lot stronger. Not strong enough, though, for this to be at 164. I'm surprised it died this early, but I don't think Resort is actually the best map for the attack, even though it is the best placement. Oh my god. Sorry, I was just caught off guard because I didn't expect the attack to show that much range on the field. But that ought to make quick work of the BADs. Feels like every single attack upgrade you buy changes the upgrade from death to popping bads in an instant. So seeing that trajectory, at least 20 plus more rounds. Round 190, damn. It's still dying within one bend. Just bring on round 200, will ya? By the way, the reason why there's a bad on round 200, a sneaky bad, is because I changed the round, so that normally doesn't show up. Oh, we actually might die here to the FDDTs. Oh, hold up. I'm actually kind of surprised this might not be able to beat it. We have to kind of pop it now, or else the DTs are going to be too fast and we're not going to have enough damage in time. Come on. Come on. Wow. Funnily enough, I just did a history check right now, and the max buff tack zone, manually done, also died to the same round and pretty much the exact same result. So I'm surprised that we couldn't squeeze out extra DPS with those aforementioned buffs. Jerry Fire only lasts 10 rounds, by the way. And I wouldn't consider it fair to add it, so I guess that marks an early death for the attack. Alright, F it. While we're on the same map, let's do Dartling Gun because Resort is best for it. And let's go for middle path into, yes, the MAD, folks. We're wasting no time just jumping to the strongest stuff. It honestly mildly infuriates me that I can't see the full buff amounts here, so what I'll do is I'll get another one placeholder Dartling Gun over here, set it away just so you can see how much, and with it not being primary, we lose a lot of primary buffs, so only 24 buffs instead of 28. It's quite lacking in the stack department. Heroes, it looks like we've got 5 of them active. Single target damage, even without Mad, is honestly still pretty good right now. The upgrade looked to be on track with the attack sprayer though, and dies to 140, so let's just go ahead and get Rocket Storm and see how much we can burst at one point here. Again, just imagine if this is a Mad. Using the ability now, it honestly doesn't seem that strong, but it should make enough of a difference, right? One more burst here, and that should get us down to popping to FDTs, and so we can survive, yeah? Or no, wait, I'm surprised. Oh my god. Ooh. I almost thought I did too much damage too quickly there, because sometimes you want to wait for the Rocket Storm ability to be up, so you can survive the innards, but we're good, 140 success. Sticking with Rocket Storm for this long, knowing what the next upgrade though, is kind of a tease, even though I've only been on it for 1 minute. But 1 minute's too long for it to not see the MAD, which we'll now max the hell out of, and you can't even see with this amount of attack speed that it's shooting, or the MAD is normally supposed to shoot alternating its attacks. With this God boost, it looks like it's just pumping out both attacks at once. And need I say more in terms of the mob damage? We actually might get owned to the insides though. I really thought with all these max buffs we'd have a little bit of a better chance, and that's why I felt like this to do better than Tack Zone, but man, we still kind of tickle these ceramics. And by tickle, I mean probably do 20 damage, but 20 damage isn't going to cut it when you have that fast a speed. Okay, let's wait for a bad to be right on top and just obliterate the hell out of it. Lost 50 lives, that's not good. As strong as the Mad is supposed to be, it surprisingly didn't beat round 200 the last time I tested this a couple years ago. Let's see if that's still the case. I mean, given how much damage it did at that one ability, I don't think that's the case anymore. Target for the insides? Come on. Whew. Okay, just rinse and repeat for this F-Pat here, and we should be all good. I think it has to do with, I think, the Mad ability being so giga cracked now. More power is soaked into the Mad ability than ever before, but that's still not enough. I think I just gotta use the first Mad ability a little bit earlier then, so I get the other one up before it leaves the bend. You feel me? Or try to hit 2 bads at once whenever possible. Like this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And here, because I didn't pop it too early, I could save the Mad ability for the DTs and the ZMGs. Now that's what we're talking about. I still think I can beat the balloons here without... Come on. Nice. That was early enough, and we are gonna do it. As we should, because again, a perma homeland is, I would guess, a 50%... Not 50, but sorry, 20% overall DPS increase. We're dead to 202. Unless, again, I pull out the same tactic. Don't damage this bad. Wait for the next ability. And all of a sudden, we can do it. Thank the stun of the Mad ability. This round's looking all but a GG, though. Somehow, with one Mad ability left, I got to beat the last 2 bads with both of them. Or one of them. But the thing is, they die on the first target hit. Like, watch this, for example. I guess if we pop to DTs early, then it'll overlap for a brief moment like here. But it can't time out. If it does, it's over. And it is over. Well, better than Tack Zone, I could say that much. No playing around with this next one. We're jumping straight to a Spike Factory into a Super Mines. But first, it's very possible just a 000 can take down, say, around 98. It's hard to say how much of the damage is going on Jerry Fire, but I doubt much of the 200,000 here. Spike Factory, once again, is a good one because it inherits 2 buffs, the Pierce and the attack speed. Well, and damage too, I guess 3, if you're talking about it, as opposed to 2. Attack speed and damage with most towers, so we're getting that 40% with that Lord of the Abyss there. Lord of the Abyss, and what else is providing Pierce here? Well, Striker Jones is one. So is the Sharpening Stone. So are, I guess, the True Sun God buffs. Just a lot of things, alright? Oh, and also, why here and not the center is because I wanted to see a little bit of the exit, because if you have all your DPS in the middle, then you're gonna have no spikes for backup, and I think you'll die a little bit earlier. Looks like we need some upgrades, though, so we'll go straight for the 3-2-0 spike balls now. Not known as a mob damage by any means, so that's why it's not quite clearing. Apologies to those who may be mildly infuriated that this is well off-center. I think we actually died to the sheer pierce on 111, though. Am I surprised about this? Maybe a little bit. I think what would help is definitely explosions, because explosions don't care about how many balloons there are in a round. So spike mines should make a massive difference. Right? I feel like I can already see it. This is one loop, and on the second loop, all that explosion damage should take care of it nice and easy. And I guess, you know what? Sure, we'll just move it a little bit higher, because I guess even over here, it can still see a good chunk of the exit. Less percentage of spikes at the exit, but true, it does make it a lot more complete, and less wasted spikes, because right now, even with all of these max buffs, it doesn't actually increase the lifespan, which I think is like 50 seconds. That ain't much, let me tell ya. That's piece of cake. Yeah, with this tower, I'm kind of more excited to see the dense rounds, because we know this thing has a single target, but does have enough to fend off all of these FCMGs, because, wow, they actually got to the last bend. You might not make it at this rate. I just bring on one round 140. Nice. Imminent death this round for sure. In 3, 2, 1. I'm doing this in Challenge Editor, and I am low-key worried that 300 rounds may not be enough for this challenge. As expected, balloons don't even get to the super mines at all. That's how much of an upgrade it is compared to the spike mines. This is the least surprising thing ever, but I had to at least pretend to be a little bit shocked. How quick of work does it make this round? Nomad's got through one bend, but that was with other balloons in the way, so I expect about 1.5 here. And that seems about right. Huh, we actually might die way earlier than the 300 I expected because of the lack of spikes. Okay, I might actually have to move the super mines like back to that spot I was talking about earlier. One that has just a little bit more track length, okay? At the beginning, or at the exit. This still might not be a high enough ratio, though. Or I think it's just the fact that that hitbox is so big that there's a very small spot where the spikes stay alive anyway. But honestly, having double the amount of spikes back here is better than, well, not. And see, it makes a difference. Come on. Oof. And honestly, the next time we die, I think we have to keep moving it further and further to where a higher percentage comes to the exit. I'd rather not do shenanigans mid-round because it feels not cheesy. Well, actually, it is cheesy because we're using a tower outside of the tower itself, but I don't want it to come down to the micro like that. And it is dead. Huge diff here. This should be at least twice the amount of spikes back here. And let's see, less DPS at the beginning, but in compensation, still dead. Wow. Sorry, don't mind me, I'm just trying to find the sweet spot. How about a quite extreme version? Dare I even say the word smart spikes? That could be a possible avenue. Although I doubt it, right? I doubt it with it having such less attack speed. We're back at ZMGs here, but with more spikes this time. Nope. Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Does 502 actually work this round? So we started on set target, but you can feel how much slower it is. Also, I reapplied the boost and it gave a Jerry Fire. Don't mind it too much. Again, I think Jerry Fire was very weak in the grand scheme of things. Only once I get enough damage on this bad will I target it back. But I think, yeah, it's just too little DPS. That's what I expected. The amount of spikes built up are not even close to 520, so that is the end, somewhat surprisingly. I'm only surprised because a tower 1/4 the cost of that, the Century Champion, got to an insane mid-300s. In the last episode, I tested this on, so I was like, surely something could at least come close, but apparently I'm wrong. Sub-towers, aka towers that spawn towers, seem to be king. That brings us to the final test, the Sun Temple. This one I'm going to skip the military on. You can only do 3 or 4 categories for those who don't know. Even though military got buffed a good amount, I think military is overall worse if you plan to put your tower close to where the balloons are, which is definitely the case on this map. And how I got into debt, I have no clue. How'd I go into debt when I didn't have an IMF loan at all? That's crazy to me. I know this thing makes money, but that was unexpected. Just a raw tier 4 temple, that's all. I guess if I need to do True Sun God, I may do that. Yeah, I mean, we're already here, so why not just drop the TSG whenever we have the chance? And that probably will require a little bit more than 300 rounds, my guess. Let's first see if this has enough to stack up against the other balloons, or the other towers, like Super Mines on this round, and it seems like it did. That was quite a quick bad kill, if you ask me. I think on this round, Super Mines took down bads within one loop, but this one didn't even let them. Also, I should crosspath this, and because it has full map range, probably knockback and Ultra Vision. Ultra Vision gives +1 camo damage, so hell, maybe we could clutch up DDTs with that upgrade. I'm also aware that I think if I want to maximize the blade damage, where I have it placed right now may not be the most optimal, but it does get the optimal straight lines for the main attack, so that's what I was looking to more than the blade. I feel like a teacher explaining concepts I've explained many, many times to, the next year's new students. So if you are a new student here, then putting it in the middle means the main attack will go like that, which hardly overlaps the track at all, as opposed to right now. It is way, way more beam coverage once balloons are fully filled to where it can snipe this way. And still the blades have a little bit of overlap damage, 8 out of 8 here. So yeah, this was definitely the right choice to test last. At this pace, looks like it's gonna smash the Super Mines record. 223 makes quick work though, yeah. I feel like tier 4 might not have enough for 300 rounds here. What are we waiting for? Just send it in now. But not too big of a jump because 256 looks like a pretty good competitor. I feel like those DTs were making their last bend, or is there still one more? If this is the last one, then we're dead, because there's no way this defends. Okay, no, good. One more. Gotta clutch up DTs though. Nice. That +1 damage came in handy. But we're much closer to death than we think. If we want to get higher than 300, it's gotta be a TSG. I mean, it was already this way with the hero buffs anyway, but consider it co-op, because we're gonna get a True Sun God buff on the True Sun God, which you can obviously only get if you have 2 TSGs. Dead now? This is the last bend. Wow. That was indeed sooner than I thought. Feels like 43 rounds is a tough task for the TSG, even if it is, so much stronger. And also, there's a bit of an issue. I kind of want to get a TSG, but there's no spot in range where you can get these Super Monkeys out of range because this thing has so many buffs, so we have no choice but to sell it. Sell it and rebuy a new TSG before I apply the buffs, damn. The one time you do not want that much range. Anyway, spawn it in. 502, turn it dark. And how many buffs are we about to inherit? Well, another debt. And the same as before, 27. Except this time what I presume to be even darker blades and a very quick work of the F-bats there, yep. Okay, 300 is definitely possible. Actually, stop right there. Before I continue, I made a grave mistake. We have to reset the Super Monkey because I didn't put it on water. And water is needed so that I could get the Carrier Flagship buff. Kinda had a feeling I was missing something. There we go, 28 buffs. Oh, although, wait a minute. That's not Carrier Flagship, that's Brickle. That's a little bit weird because if you didn't hear the news, they've changed naval tactics to only work on the sub and the boat anymore, which was a highly controversial change that many people called Niche Kiwi out on because it didn't make sense. A lot of people certainly had very strong opinions on it, but I guess this mod still includes that, which is nice, but surprised there's no Carrier Flagship. It is considered water. I might have to buy myself a secondary, and you see now it gets that buff. That's interesting. I would have thought the God Boost actually encompassed everything, but somehow the Carrier Flagship, which is a pretty obvious buff, was missed. This leg is awful, by the way, and I think it's because of Brickle. The VTSU was not shooting this dense of blades before. That definitely looks about 2 times speed to me. Alright, final round. I might have to do this in non-challenge editor if I can't go above 300. And it too is also going to make quick work of this round. Still not even half a bend. 3 mines around, more like 0.5 mines around. I'm not funny. Okay, I forgot I could just do the challenge browser free play, so 350 here. How long does it get now? There's also a big issue. I don't know why my sun after spawning this far right. Thankfully, they still have enough range to reach see the bats all the way over there. But this could be an issue when we get to the last bat and it stops attacking for like a microsecond, so I'm gonna just spam some villages here so they can at least be relocated. We're gonna set up some new land here and push the old ones away. History repeats itself yet again. I forgot to count, but this looks about 1 or 2. Of all the projectiles VTSG is spewing out, my favorite one is the magic lobs of all different colors. Blue, purple, green. Kind of reminds me of like kids cereal. Speaking of which, it's crazy how our minds and tastes like change growing up, because now that I think about what I liked and ate as a kid, like I liked Lucky Charms, but I look at that cereal now and I'm like, that shit's disgusting. I'd rather eat real food. Safe to say, I don't have a sweet tooth anymore. I crave a nice warm noodle soup on a winter's day. I'll stop showing my age now and tell you that if you didn't know, I have 17,000 hours in this cartoonish looking game. I have to pretty much speed up all the footage at this point, by the way. Otherwise, it's unwatchable. But the bats look like they popped 2 on 2 loops out of 3. So still a good amount of time to go, and that's our by jumping straight to 420. I think we still have more in the tank, but it's definitely cutting it close. One more bat to go. This is 100% the last bend. But we vaporized those DTs. You barely can tell. They spawned it out. Anyway, we finally meet our end. Round 431, which is quite impressive, I have to say, considering I feel like whenever I tested like with all max paragons, they got to about this round too. So yeah, take that info for what you will. Once again, thanks to Bulbous for making it easy for me and not having to time Odora and Ultra Boost and Homeland. And click here if you want to see more stuff like this.